portfolio unit in the concept map. So I wanted to let you know I updated some things. The first thing is that I think I told you before, this is a year QSI adjusted their curriculum, so there's a lot of things that are the same but are slightly numbered differently or worded differently. But if you already got started on this, don't worry, you're not going to have to change what you do. I needed to update some things and I had missed doing it. So the first thing is not SO1 now, it's SO9. So I think most of you know for QSI you need 10 units to complete a course. So one of our units is going to be SO9 and it's a portfolio. And what I like about this is we work on it a little bit after the end of each unit. And then when you're done with the course, when you're done with the 9 units, then the 10th unit comes very quickly. QSI updated the TSWs to be a little bit more general. So what I did was everything that's in the new TSWs, you can read them. It'll be on the course page. Those just help us do the steps that were there before. So the old TSWs are becoming our steps, and the new TSWs are becoming kind of how. It's more philosophical of how we'll do it, but the steps will be the same. So each unit, you're going to have its own section in your portfolio. You're going to need to write a paragraph that says you should include what you've learned and how this connected to what you know, and you should include any connections to the other topics that you might be learning in other classes. Your portfolio should include the most important vocabulary terms. Most of the time this will be on your concept map if you do a good job on it. You'll have the vocabulary. If I notice you're not really hitting much of the vocabulary, then I'll let you know. You should have some representative problems on your concept map. You should have solutions to those problems. You should have a function. So in Unit 1, you should have a linear function and an absolute value function. You're going to need at the very end to discuss this. Right at the end of the year, you'll do a video. Oh, and you should also have some sort of application. So how do we use linear functions? How do we use absolute value in the real world? That's the application of it. And by real world, it doesn't necessarily mean like everybody's daily life. It might be how a scientist uses it or an engineer uses it, but someplace that this math is being used. And a lot of times I'll have a project that'll help guide you. In this first unit, you're going to need to use kind of a word problem that you've looked at. Your portfolio can be electronic, a Google Doc, Sway. I gave you a couple extra resources down here. I just added these. I found them this morning. What was I? It could be physical though. You could keep a physical binder. I see some of you are already doing this with your Flipgrid. You're just taking pictures of your physical work and then it's easy for you to share electronically. All right, but what are concept maps? Well, concept maps are a visual representation of how your brain remembers all of this information. They're different than notes because it's condensed, is the main way it's different than your notes. So I have a concept map from Unit 1 that I did. So when I look at linear functions, equalities, and systems of equations, this is how I see it. There's there's relations and functions. There's different ways to have a function. You can have a graph, you can have a formula, you can have a table of values, you can have just a mapping diagram. All right. Well, always see 2 variables on a coordinate plane. There's the vocabulary. Oh, vertical line test. That's going to help me tell. So this is more vocabulary. It's going to help me tell if it's a relation or function. Oh, what's function notation? Oh, this is this f of x stuff. See, more vocabulary. All right, and related to this is one kind of special. We talked about this absolute value because we were looking at how to translate it, right? How does it move around the graph? So I have space here for an example problem. Solving systems of equations. I can use graphing, substitution, elimination. Here's space for my examples. Here's what it would look like. You could add the vocabulary here. Instead of no solution, one solution, infinite solutions, you could add, is it consistent, inconsistent, dependent or not? Linear functions, what are the forms of those? So this is how I organize this unit in my mind. But you could use mine or you could use one that you make. And I see some were already uploaded last night. I'm going to look at those next. Finally, back to that document we were looking at, is there's a grading rubric. So you can read for SO9, how am I going to be graded? Okay, so I hope this clears up some questions, and if you still have questions, please continue to send them to me.